Ago tevochra boisai. Lilu nishmas imi mirosi ruspas mordechai. I apologize. Motzi Shabbos is one of those days. I prepared a lot of good charts, and then my printer went out. So I had to get another printer and hook it up, so I apologize, I'm a little late. Here we have Peretz Chaim Levine standing in the cold outside of KRM supermarket in Borough Park, giving out Gemaras. Amazing Mesiras Nefesh, Yisrael Shalitsky in Borough Park. I'll just read one email, I think, but this one is like 4 pages long. Let's see what I can do here. I don't know how to start this email. Please keep my name anonymous, so we'll try to do that. It's been a while debating whether to email or not. Yeah. How about now? It's good? Okay. All right. So Bekitzer, let me I didn't put out the pieces that are good here. He would watch his friends grow in limud. He was hardly able to understand Pshat. Then came Yush. But Baruch Hashem, I started my tshuva with Reb Nachman. So ain't Yush Boilam Klal, right? So I decided to try and hold on tight, but every time I tried, I ended up learning with people who were a lot brighter than me, or weren't embarrassed to show it. You know, the thumbs flying everywhere and them yelling, "No, you don't understand." And that's when I said, "Sorry, Reb Nachman, it's too much for me." So I'm yushing on Gemara, not in Breslov Chas v'Shalom, on Gemara. Baruch Hashem, his story is a bit long and heavy. Besides my Gemara journey, I feel very embarrassed and guilty to share this with you. But you said in recent share, it's good to share your tzaras with people so they can daven for you. That's the only reason why I'm willing to share this with you. And also, the Chizuk and Shiurim are doing wonders for Am Yisrael. A lot of people send you emails, heartbreaking, heartwarming stories. I feel like my story is nothing close to what these tzaddikim went through. It started when I was born. I was born with a certain syndrome, which Baruch Hashem doesn't affect the brain, but it's something that affects my physical appearance and causes other issues. It caused me such suffering and a lot of head-face surgeries from the age of 3 months to 11 years. Bekitzer, people would make fun of him in yeshiva. It broke him into dust. It broke my self-esteem and confidence. What? Even in yeshiva, I'm going to get bizyonis. Baruch Hashem, once again, I can't complain. 3 years later, I got married. This helps me a lot. The whole world is putting me down, and Hashem's beautiful Torah is reminding me how dumb I am. Mechila Hashem, but I can't do this. A year after my wedding, I was blessed with a beautiful baby boy, which got the syndrome passed down to him. So once again, you can imagine what I went through. 2 years later, another baby boy, same thing, Baruch Hashem, 2 syndrome babies. It was a crazy ride. He sent me a picture, but he doesn't want me to show it. In and out of the hospitals, my boys still need to be followed. I'm skipping around. It's a very long email. Baruch Hashem, healthy baby girl, Eretz HaKodesh, Nisim. Why do I feel it's important to tell you this? When Hashem blessed us to do Aliyah, my second child was 5 years old at the time. My second child, he came to me and said, "Abba, why do I look like this? I never want to look like this." Kitzer, this is after he's doing a huge surgery, 8-10 hours. Okay, we're going to go weiter. I feel like I have no more koyach. I know looks aren't everything. For me, my children, most beautiful children in the world, thinking about I broke down. I got into big depression. Today, my boys are 13, 11. Baruch Hashem, still have a lot of work for them to do. Doctor, still feeling broken. When I was in Koilo, before doing Aliyah, not that I'm a Talmid Chacham, it was a Koilo where you're free to learn Mashli B'Chafetz. The Rav of the Shul came one day and said, "Does anybody want a full Shas?" Somebody was getting rid of it in the Shemus. I jumped out of my seat. I grabbed him as if they were chocolate chip cookies straight out of the oven. They were sitting on my bookshelf for a while collecting dust. I went to Umah for Rosh Hashanah. Tzien Reb Nachman. I started to speak to Hashem and down about all sorts of things. Lo chaser. Then I remember talking to Reb Nachman and saying something along the lines, "Rebbe, how long would I go on like this?" Kitzer, you stressed the importance of learning Torah and learning the whole Torah. A few months later, I had the schus to see a beautiful ad on YouTube. And since Tainus, I've been hooked, Baruch Hashem. Now I tell my wife, I have to do the daf, let's prepare a nice suda and have a siyum sechta to do. Me doing the daf, me doing Gemara, siyumim, what the holy bagels is going on? Your shiurim are amazing, funny, entertaining, mamish. I thank Hashem the whole time. A lot of simcha in our house. I feel like I'm not yoytz to the shir if I don't hear good morning Rabbi say, even my 5-year-old, my 3-year-old, bekitzer, all this to tell you that Yeshirim are shining a light in our lives. It's even getting us to us in the dark place that we were in, Baruch Hashem. I think Hashem is sending tzaddikim like yourself in the whole MDY community. He's thanking all of you for caring about Am Yisrael. Because yes, I say this over and over, it's not me. There's at least 15 people behind the scenes that are doing things. It's a whole crew. P.S. I'm sure someone brought to your attention just to realize Gemara Boisai is Rosh Tevis Gemara. I'm sending you a photo of my boys during Tainus Siyum. I unfortunately don't feel so comfortable to show it on screen. Thank you so much for everything. Name will remain anonymous. And now, Rabbi Isai. Oh, Mendy is here. Givaldik. The reason I saved you a seat, Mendy, I'll tell the Olam. Sponsors. Mendy, you want to tell the Olam why I saved you a seat? A few people had complaints. Come here, tell the Olam why I saved you a seat. Mr. Anonymous is sponsoring the code for the month. Eli Stefansky. Masechet Chagigah is dedicated by the Kessler and Davis families before Shlema for Mir Messer Bas Devar Bekarev. Paras HaChodesh is chus for Fol Shlomo ben Lifshon Rivka Bas Gila that she was zoicha the Zer Shel Kayom Bekarev. Paras HaChodesh, Sholi Rosenfeld in memory of my dear friend Yudo Augenbaum. Paras HaChodesh by the Lach and Lebovic families, Lakewood as a chus for our families. By Jonathan Davidov in memory of Bechor Davidov Ben Panir Ben Neshama Havin Aliyah. Evi is Wiegenhaft. The Yiddish Bacher B'Chaim Nachman Zuchron Levrocha Ben Rabbi Yaakov Yitzchak HaKohen Eriyo his yahrzeit was today, anonymously in honor of the Bar Mitzvah of Eliezer Hillel Halevi and Hai. Mazel Tov Eliezer Hillel Halevi. So we are holding Daf Chav Gimel Omud Beis, and a quick review. So it goes like this. We have these reeds that were cut for the Para Aduma water. Welcome all the guests. We don't have time. Afterwards, we'll say Shalom Aleichem. All the guests. Hi. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Yitzchak? Prayer. The X Factor brother-in-law. Oh, let me show you real quickly. I promise to show you this. This is one of my favorite cartoon characters. There's a lot of detail here, and it's not done yet. There's one Givaldik surprise. Look closely. She has 2 phones. The kosher phone is way bigger than the non-kosher phone. There's a fish sticking out of her basket and some other good geschmack stuff. We love the shoes. We love the whole thing. There's a lot of attention to detail. There's a guy by the name of Kiwi Kaminkansky Baldman. That might be his wife. We're gonna have to pair these two together. You'd imagine what's gonna go on here. Akiva, don't fall off that ledge with all your laughing. Okay, so we have these tubes that they're going to put paraduma water in it. And the Gemara told us on Friday, as we're running out here, we're late, that Chachamim made these into a special tumah. Tumas hameis, but not really half. And that is that somebody who's tummy meis has to be squirted twice, Shalom Aleichem, twice, on the 3rd day and the 7th day. Over here, we push him forward, we make him tummy all the way to the 7th day. Then he goes to the mikvah and Shalom Yisrael. That's a special tumah that we put over here. So now we're holding by Vatanya, 2, 4, 6, 7 lines down. Vatanya, me'olam loy chichu davar bepara. So we have to understand like this. Remember, the kohen who burns the para aduma, what do we do to him? We make him tameh. Why? Lahaitzi milibam shel tzdukim, to shel tzdukim, they don't know what they're talking about. But now people are going to say, wait a minute, the para aduma is so kal. People that are tameh, they're the ones burning it, so they're going to be mezalzel in the para aduma. So what do? We make many chumras. We load up the chumras on paradumo. On the one hand, we're very makel, we make the kohen tameh. On the other hand, we make a lot of chumras. And on that, says the Braisa, me'olam lo yichichu davar b'para. Yes, there's a lot of chumras, but never a chiddush. We're not going to pull out a chumrah that never existed. But we just made up a chumrah. We just said that these reeds, these tubes, have a special tumah, and that's not a tumah, mamish, interesting type of tumah. He's on the 7th day of the mace, not the 1st, on the 7th. Isn't that made up? Amr Abaye Shalayu Amru Kordoi Mitame Moishav. want to tell you, I was looking for a picture of this on Google. I couldn't find a guy sitting on a shovel. I typed in guy sitting on a shovel. There's no such thing. Guy sitting on a shovel. I called up our, this artist guy that's working for us now. Baruch Hashem was Mam Shanes, but we missed out. We missed out a great opportunity. I wanted to hire him for the whole year, full time. I'll show you why. This artist, he's amazing. He got a job. And he turned me down. They're paying him good money. Chaval. We have to find somebody else maybe. But meanwhile, he's going to give us a few hours, maybe every day, even with the job. I called him up Erev Shabbos, 2 hours before Shabbos. I said, listen, do me a favor, stop what you're doing. I just let him know. I said, listen, I understand if you don't want to do it, it's Erev Shabbos. I need a guy sitting on a shovel. What can you do for me? 10, 15 minutes later, he sends me this picture. That's what seriously, I can't draw like that. There's a guy sitting on a shovel. Okay? You can't find this in Google, you can't do anything. This could improve the shear a lot. Seriously. But it is $70,000 a year. I said, it's Kedai. And I went to him, I offered him. He said, oops, sorry, you missed it by 2 days. Okay, fine. Guy sitting on a shovel. Now, what kind of guy is this? This is a Zav. Now, what? This is 10 minutes. Imagine what he could do if I gave him an hour, 2 hours. Erev Shabbos, his wife is screaming, the children, the this, the kids. He did it. Imam Shdemi Taiva. So, what happens is like this. The Torah says, if I could find this because everything is, it's Danical. You want to yell at him later? He's a great kid. They could be sitting now doing who knows what. Let's see if I can find, we're getting closer. Here we go. Here it is. Pasuk. You have a zav that touched this kli, sat on the kli. Now, what tumah does this kli become? Becomes avat tumah, the top of the top hair. Because if you come afterwards, if the zav sat not on the shovel, we're going to see in a second, but he sat on a chair or something. The chair, because it's a moishav, it becomes a heavy duty tumah. And if somebody else sits on it, he becomes a rishon. It's avat tumah. And the pasuk uses yeshiv. So we're going to learn from this pasuk yeshiv. It doesn't say yashav in the past, yeshiv in the future. It's a little bit of an interesting lashon because we're talking about that he sat on it previously. Okay. This, if this guy is a zav and he sits on a shovel, he's not tummy. Why not? What's the obvious reason why not? Because it's not a normal thing to do. Which normal person is pretty painful, no? It's not a normal thing to sit like that. So, Yochal, Kafasavi, Yoshev Alel, Tarkav is 2 kavim. Here's just a simple picture. A guy sitting on some sort of pail. Yeh I'll think that this pail is tame, not tame. Why? In the future, something that's made to sit. These 2 items right over here, they use this in construction. If you're going to be sitting on my shovel, you're going to be sitting on my pail, I'm going to tell you, get off. I need it. I need to dig in the ground and fill up my pail. Pail's not meant for you to sit. You want to sit by a chair. Don't use my pail. So memela, it's not tamei tumas moishav. How do I know that? It's in the pasuk. Why did the pasuk use a funny lashon yeshev in the future? Because it must be something that you sit on it forever. A chair, a couch, a car seat. Not a pail, certainly not a shovel. That's in the pasuk. Okay. So Memela says, Abaya, what? This halacha that I'm telling you, that I'm not mechadish anything when it comes to paraduma, means I'm not going to reinvent something that's... I'm not going to say that this is the shovel guy. I got to show it again because, it's hard work. We're not going to invent something that doesn't exist. We're not going to say, there's tumah on a shovel. Shovels don't have tumah. Pails don't have tumah. I'm not going to add that to paraduma. What am I going to add? This halacha that we added here. There is a concept of tumas meis. There is a concept that somebody touches a dead person, he has to go to the mikveh, he has to get spritzed on the 7th and on the 3rd and go to the mikveh and all that. That's not an invention. I'm just going to take that invention and move it over to a reed tube. It's not inventing a chiddush. I'm not inventing a new thing. You know what's inventing? Taking this tumah from a shovel. What's going on? There's very loud from the speakers. Shkoya. Okay, next. Yeah, is that understood? Gewaldig. Hakli mitzarev mash b'toichoy lekodesh avaloi litruma. So, I forgot to bring that picture. Okay, with all the rush. But we had that the kli, when you have a bunch of figs, you remember that picture? The figs in the kli. This is crazy. Here we go. So we're holding over here. We're holding the list of things that kodesh is more chamor than truma. One of them is kli mitzaref. So if you have a basket, Yosef will show you. You have a basket of figs. We had this a few days ago. And on the figs, I wrote 1, 2, 3. So if it's kodesh, everything in the basket becomes tamei as the first one. But if it's truma, then the one, which is a rishon, makes the one touching it a sheni, and the sheni that's touching another fig, that one becomes a shlishi. That's normal. If I'm mitzaref it, if I take the whole basket and I say whatever in the basket that has the same halacha, then they're all a rishon. That's different. Kachim and truma says the Gemara Menani. I know this. Kaf achas asara zav b'leik taris. We're going to be reading in 29 days. That what it says in the pasuk achas. It should say, what should it say? Kaf. What is kaf? 1 spoon. A kaf is a spoon. What I have to say? 1 spoon. It's a double lashon to teach me that the spoon creates 1. It becomes everything in the spoon is 1. Ask the Gemara. So you're telling me it's a pasuk. Kaf achas is a pasuk. So you tell me it's a doiraisa. This concept that everything in the basket is 1 is a doiraisa. Maser Rav Kahana, Hoyser Rebbe Kiva, Hasoiles. Rebbe Kiva added to the list. Fine flour, vak toires, vahalavoina, vagecholim, ktoires. We know special incense. Vahalavoina. Lavoina, I have from Jonathan Stefansky. He's not just the let's, but he also gave me this matana. I use it every time I say lavoina. Frankincense. Okay, here we go. This is lavoina. Sometimes you put it on a mincha. We put it on the lechem apanim. We use this. Now, what does that mean? So if it's like in a kli, and a tamei guy touches one of these stones here, one of these lavainas, they all become tamei. We're mitzaref it. This idea of tziruf works in Ketores, works on Silas, works in Levina. Vagecholim and the coals. That in the Kayin used to take a machta and fill it with coals. You touch one coal, they all become tamei. Shimnagat v'l yom b'miktsasa yipasel skulai. Now, the Gemara says about the Rabbanani. But this is a concept of the Rabbanan. Why? How do I know? Hey, Reb Shimon ben Seira, al efer chatos. So, Reb Shimon ben Seira said, the ashes of the chatos, of the paraduma, remember, very interesting halacha. It's very, very hard to get a paraduma, right? It comes very, very, not so frequent. We had the whole story with Dam ben Asina. He had a paraduma. They bought it for a tremendous amount of money. But the ashes have to last forever, for 30 years, 100 years, who knows? So what do? We load up wood as much as you want, hundreds of tons of wood. Well, but if you touch part of the ashes, they all become tamei. You got to be careful. But that's only in the Rabbanon. Why? Because the Daraisa Kavachas Asar Zav and Lake Taurus is talking about something that goes on the Mizbeach. Karban Chatos, meaning the paraduma, has nothing to do with the Mizbeach. It's burnt outside of the Beis Hamikdash B'chlal. So let's do the Rabbanon halacha. Victoria Yosef Rebbe Kiva, and Rebbe Kiva added to this the Rabbanan halacha, so it's only the Rabbanan. So what's the bottom line? What's the question? You're telling me a pasuk havachas asar zamelek Torahs, which refers to halacha that's doiraisa, and then I'm telling you, it seems from Rebbe Kiva and everything that it's the Rabbanan. Okay, we don't have time today to show you how you do a kmitza. That was in Menachos, and if we had nothing else going on, maybe I would have done it. But you have a whole bowl of flour, and somebody the kohen puts their hand into it like this, and grabs 3 fingers like this, 3 fingers of flour. Goes like this with his pinky, with his thumb. Make sure it's only these 3 fingers. What happens to the flour in the bowl? It's the flour of the kohen. He gets to eat it. So, I don't need the bowl anymore. I don't need it to make a tziruf. That's the big chiddush. We're talking about a derabbanan. We're talking about a halacha that later on. Rebbe Kiva, he's derabbanan. And everything you're right, derabbanan. In what case? Of shiyari mincha. The leftover of the mincha. At that point, I don't need the bowl. And now I'm coming to tell you chiddush that the kli is mitzaref. So if I touch part of the flour, all the flour becomes tamei. Doiraisa, tzarech kli, akli mitzaref. If I need the kli, then the kli is mitzaref. Shein tzarech kli. But in this case, the shiyar mincha, the leftover, I'm done already with the kmitza. I did it. So whatever's left in the kli, I don't need the kli anymore. If the kohen wants to eat it, eat it. And kli mitzaref, so the kli doesn't have the power to make everything tamei. Rabbanan come along and they say everything is tamei. That's very good. That's flour. What about this guy? The levina. Says the Gemara. Again, I ran out of time. I wanted to do a picture, but it's fine. You understand what it means. It means somebody takes, let's say, a tight sheet, a tight piece of leather, and puts this on it. Now, it's not even a kli. A kli means it has a taich. It has an inside. And this is flat, like this. He put the levine on top of this. So, once again, that's a big chiddush. Only if it has an inside like a kli, like the spoon of the levina, great. But that's because it's a spoon. But a flat piece of leather like this, it's not mitzaref. Rabbanan came along and they said it is mitzaref. The Gemara just says, and we have a machlokes here. So he's saying, all the way in the beginning of the sugi, we said that it's a pasuk, it's a deraisa. That when it comes to what? To kachim, the bowl is mitzaref everything. All the figs are a rishon, and that's a deraisa halacha. Why? Kafachas, it's a pasuk. But here we see no. He says no. How do I know that halacha? Not from a pasuk. Rebbe Kiva was talking about the Rabbanans that we just described, all the Rabbanans. And I'm learning this halacha that kachim, everything in the bowl, is mitzar from Rebbe Kiva, meaning, I argue with you, it's not a deraisa, I don't learn it from Kafachas Zarka, like I learn it from Rebbe Kiva, which is the Rabbanan. Great. Says the Gemara, Haravi, Pasul, Bakoidish Pasul. Another thing, let's see if I can find that list. Okay, now we're still holding the list. Going through all the things in the list. What are the differences between Truma and Kachim? Revi Bakoidish Pasul. What does it mean? It means that if a Shlishi, everything in Tuma goes in order. Avi Avoisa Tuma on the top. Ava Tuma. Rishain, Sheni, we all know how to count. Rishain, a Rishon makes a Sheni. If a Rishon touches something, that thing becomes a Sheni. If that Sheni touches something else, Shlishi. If that Shlishi does something else, Revi. Revi touches something else, becomes a Chamishi. But not always. In Kachim, if a Shlishi touches a piece of carbon, meat, a steak, that carbon becomes a Revi, to become puzzle. Can't eat it anymore. If that Shlishi touched Truma, the kohen could eat it all day long. Because it's so weak, a Shlishi is so weak, it can't make Truma puzzle. It can't make a chulin apple puzzle. Certainly it can't make a chulin apple puzzle. It can't even make Truma puzzle. The only thing it could do is make kachim puzzle. Or the Efer Paraduma. That's it. Okay. Tanya Amar Yosi. How do I know? Vidinhu. All right, very, very simple Kavachaymer. Let me show you the Kavachaymer. You remember here, first let's see this. If you remember, we had the case of a Mechusar Kippurim. We have a Tful Yom, Mechuzah Kippurim. It's good to go over these ideas over and over because we're not going to have them really in Yavamas. These are Kachim concepts, right? Tful Yom means a guy was Tameh, he goes to the mikveh, most of his Tumah comes off, besides a little bit that only comes off after Shkia. He's a Tful Yom, he has to wait until the nighttime. There's something else called a Mechusar Kippurim. That's what we're talking about right now. We're not talking about Tful Yom. Mechusar Kippurim means he is Tameh, he goes to the mikveh, he got rid of 90% of his Tumah, but he's not going to be completely tar until what? Until tomorrow when he brings a carbon. Mechusar, he's missing the kapara. The kapara part is the carbon. But what? Kapara alecha. Kapara alecha. Why don't you come to Eretz Yisrael for the siyum? Shalom. Harry Shalom. He has all the gadgets. He has all the bobbleheads. Aber fasim kommt nicht. Kapara alecha. Okay. Anyways, Mechusar Kippurim doesn't have a kapara. He doesn't have a kapara. Kapara lo alecha. He doesn't have a kapara. He doesn't have a carbon. Fine.
It's called 90% sure, or he's without the
No. He's 90% tar. Why? Hey, good thing you're asking. A Mechusar Kippurim, look at this. He could eat truma. He's mutter now in truma until even he didn't bring his carbon. I say 90. It might be 62%. I have no idea. I just threw out a number. It's l'saber soizen. But he's osser to eat kachim. And that's the kavachomer we're doing right now. We need to know that idea. Says the Gemara like this. Very, very simple. Mechusar Kippurim versus a shlishi. Mechusar Kippurim we just said. Somebody who didn't bring his carbon yet. He went to the mikveh. No. He's allowed to eat truma. Check. He's not allowed to eat kachim. So a shlishi, something that's a shlishi, not a person. Something that's a shlishi. A piece of meat that's a shlishi. Or let's say, okay, fine. What? He's a piece of wheat. Yeah. You cannot, it passels truma, it ruins truma. Certainly. So you see that he's more chamer than a Mechusar Kippurim. A shlishi does worse than a Mechusar Kippurim could do. A Mechusar Kippurim could eat truma. A shlishi passes truma. So if a Mechusar Kippurim cannot eat kodesh, certainly the shlishi passes kodesh. We have a problem. I'm just saying this outside. We have a problem. We have the concept of dayoy lovim and adin liyos kenida. Meaning, if I make a kavachoyim, I say like this. This guy is a little weakling. He's mamish small. He doesn't have any muscles. And he can't even pick up 50 pounds. So the big giant guy that works out all day, of course he's going to be able to pick up 200 pounds. That doesn't work. I can only go as far as the little guy. I can say, if the little guy doesn't have muscles. Certainly, it goes like, if the little guy who doesn't have muscles could pick up 50 pounds, could pick up 50 pounds, for sure the big guy could pick up 50 pounds. But you can't say for sure the big guy could pick up 200 pounds. We can only stop at the little guy. So if the little guy who doesn't have muscles could pick up 50 pounds, so of course the big guy who has a lot of muscles could pick up 50. Dayoy. We can only go up until there. So the Gemara is going to ask, yeah? So we can only go up to Truma. Shlishi can only go to Truma. There is no Revi by Truma. Truma stops at Shlishi. So how can I make a Kavachomer Shlishi going to Kaidish? It doesn't work. It's like the big guy, this is like 200 pounds for the big guy. Kaidish. Because it doesn't exist. Truma stops short at a Shlishi. So I can't come up with any svara to say that, certainly a shlishi should make kodesh tameh. It stops at truma. So now let's see inside. How do I know that a Revi makes kodesh pasul? V'dinu Uma mechusar kippurim shumutu b'truma. Possible kodesh, the top one over here. Mechusar Kippur is allowed to eat truma, yet when it comes to kachim, he's not allowed. Shlishi, shepasul b'truma, a shlishi that's possible by truma, enoy din, she has a revi. Certainly, it should make a revi by kachim, not by truma, by kachim. And now the Gemara asks the question. We have to just say it. But wait a minute. You can't make this kind of kavachomer. Says the Gemara, you could. You know why you could? It's all right. You know why you could? Because this Mandarmar holds that if I don't need this kavachomer for shlishi, for over here, then even though it's a daya, even though it makes no sense, and I'm going to a big guy with muscles that could lift 200 pounds, I'll do that. I can use such a kavachomer. Why? Because I don't need it for the first part. Again, in the kavachomer of the little kid. If a little kid who has no muscles can lift 50 pounds, so certainly an adult that has a lot of muscles can lift 50 pounds. But I don't need that adult. I don't need the kavachomer for that, for the 50 pounds of the adult, because I have a mefurish pasuk for the 50 pounds of the adult. So now what do I do with the kavachomer? I'm stuck. I have a kavachomer. So I have to use the kavachomer to say that an adult could for sure lift 200 pounds. In that case, I don't say dayai. Why? Because I have a pasuk that says mefurish, the obvious kavachomer. And if I have a pasuk that says mefurish, the obvious kavachomer, this mandara holds, you don't say dayai in that case. Yeah? What does dayai mean? Dayai means the kavachomer only goes as far as the thing I'm learning from. So, but I have a kavachomer. I have a simple kavachomer. I'll give you a simple kavachomer as far as I could go. But I don't need that simple kavachomer because I have a mefurish pasuk. So what am I going to do with the simple kavachomer, Mendy? What do I do with it? It's like Xer Shava, sort of. I have a limud. What do I do with the limud? I don't need the limud. I know shlishi from the Torah. So why do I have a kavachomer? I'm going to use the kavachomer even to say something more than what I could learn. Even to say kodesh. It's very simple. It is a kavachomer. It's a kavachomer where it doesn't make sense. It's a not logical kavachomer. Even again, if this little guy has no muscles, he could lift 50 pounds. So of course, you that have a lot of muscles, you can lift 200 pounds. Is it a logical kavachomer? No, it's not a logical. But I'm going to say it anyway. You know why? Because I don't need the simple kavachomer. I don't need, if the little kid can lift 50 pounds, so certainly you can lift 50 pounds. That it says mefurish. I have a pasuk. I'll show you. It says men the arbach can lift 50 pounds. So I don't need the kavachomer. So then why am I using the kavachomer? Only to say something that's not logical, that you can lift 200 pounds. So Mela, let's see it inside. And I learn in the pasuk. I know mefurish the simple kavachomer shlishi l'kodesh min haTorah. So Mela the revi b'kavachomer. That's why I'm going to use the kavachomer for revi, even though it doesn't make sense. It's above logic. Shlishi l'kodesh min haTorah. And how do I know it in the Torah? Where do I see it? The basar ashiga b'chol tamei lo yachal. Miloy askin in the nagam sheni. It's talking about they touched sheni v'kamar chmada lo yachal. What happened? Let's see if I have that picture. Again, Mamish ran out of time. I need like 4 hours this month of Shabbos. But okay. It's not like I didn't do stuff on Erev Shabbos either. I think I saw it here. It's the one with the mouse in the cup. No, it's not here. No, I saw it. Hold on. The hanging mouse. It's kedai to see it. Huh? Okay, no, it's fine. Not here. Great. So we have like this. The mouse is in the ear space of the glass of the cup. So what does the cup become? The mouse is avatuma. So the cup becomes a rishon. And on the bottom of the cup, there's food. What does that become? A sheni. And that sheni, the Torah says, that meat that's on the bottom of the cup, which is a sheni. Again, why is it a sheni? The mouse is avatuma. He's in the ear space of a cup. The cup, the surrounding cup becomes a rishon. the bottom, there's meat sitting on the bottom, that becomes a sheni. And the Torah says, if that sheni, no, I have that. I need the one with the mouse. But it's fine. Everybody understood. And that sheni has the ability to make a shlishi. So you see mefurish in the pasuk, shlishi. So I don't need a kavachaymer about a shlishi. So now my kavachaymer jumps straight ahead to a revi. Very simple. You don't like the logic, but that's how it works. No, every kavachaymer is within. We just learn up until from where we're learning from. Shlishi goes without every night. And therefore, I'm using the review of kavachaymer. Next, ubetruma imnitmes. Now, going back to the list, we're holding 3 from the end. If one hand became tameh, what happens to the other hand? Depends. If it's truma, nothing. And if it's kachim, you have to wash your hands. You have to be tovel your hand. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Shizvi. Amar Rav Shizvi, b'chiburim shanu. Ava shaloi b'chiburin loi. Very good, Valdik. Here we go. B'chiburim means as follows. Very, very simple. If hand A is the hand that's tameh, hand A touched tameh, what does it become? It's a sheni. If hand A touches hand B and B is not tameh at all, and it's laying on B. Now, by the way, before I go any further, I have a question for the Olam. First, I'm going to try. Here, I have 2 gifts here. These are old from the museum. If anybody knows the answer, why is this picture wrong? Can an apple become kodesh? Why not? Why? So what? I could do it in my head. Why can't I do it in my head? In this case, that a hand touches the apple, does it become? So the answer is no, because that's part of this list, and it doesn't work with head things. Okay, fine. So we're going to get rid of this for a second. We're going to go to a different one. Here. The only thing we could be talking about right now is meat. It goes like this. If the hand that touched the tumah, hand number 1, is a sheni, and if you put your hand on top of another hand, and that hand B touches the meat, says Rav Shizvi, that's the only way it's going to work. But once he removes A from B, B goes back to being tar. The only way hand B could give tumah over to the meat is if hand A is touching it. And what's the reason? So it's in this little box over here. I don't know if you can read it. I can't see it so well on the screen. Oh, very nice, Gary. That hand A might slip and touch the meat. Nothing to do with B. We have to remember this because now here comes a big chap, which some people had trouble understanding. So let's see inside. Only when the hand is touching the other hand, as it's touching the kachim, then it's possible. So I got to show you this. Men, do you want to be my? You're very happy here. Who's gonna be my? Where's my son? Is Yoel here tonight? Yoel, come down quickly. You're the designated guy. Okay, so it goes like this. You know what? I can do it myself. I don't need it. I need a plate. Anybody have a plate here? Get me a plate from the kitchen. Okay, here. Doesn't matter. Here. Check this out. I just got to show this to you real quickly. Let's do this together. You ready? This hand. No. It's fine. This hand is what? It's a sheni. Yadayim ashniyos. This is sheni. Now I'm going to pour water on my hand. Now, if you remember, where's that guy? I got to show you this list first. You see the yellow arrow in this chart? What happens? That the water could turn into a rishon. So the water, which is touching my hand, which is a sheni, what happens to the water? Becomes a rishon. If I touch the water with this hand becomes a what? A sheni. So Nachamol, my hand started out as a sheni. The water on the hand went up a level into a rishon. Now that I take my other hand and I touch it, my other hand becomes a sheni. And if it touches kachim, the kachim become a shlishi. Not pasul. Pasul is revi. Now let me ask you something. I'm going to tell you halacha. I'm going to say, even if this hand is not wet, if it's dry, and I touch my dry hand, this becomes a sheni. Is that a big chiddush? Yeah. Because it's not wet. Everything we just discussed is if it's wet. If it's wet and I touch it, then this becomes a sheni. I'm going to tell you a major chiddush. If this is not wet and it touches, it also becomes a sheni. Moiridik a chiddush. That is a great chiddush. You know it's not a chiddush? If I tell you that the whole problem is this, the whole problem is Shema, it's going to slip off and touch the meat. So I have two hands like this. My hand might touch the meat. Does it make a difference if this is wet or dry? Zero difference. What's the whole chashash? It might slip off onto the meat. So then why in the world does it mention that my hand is dry? If the concern is that my hand is going to slip off and touch the meat, then it makes no difference if I'm dry or wet. But if the concern is that I might touch the meat, and I'm telling you a major chiddush that even though my hand is not wet and I touched it, my hand turned into a sheni, that's a gevaldik chiddush. So what am I proving from here? I'm proving from here that this is not the concern. If this was the concern, then it wouldn't mention the word dry. Mardik, yeah? Let's see inside. This, Mendi Auerbach told me, is the most difficult sugi in Shas, besides Nida Daf Nun Gimel. This is what he told me. Is it difficult? Rabbi Yisai. That's why I told him he has to get a seat. He's sitting right next to me. We're going to go through it together. Emes? Is it the most difficult sugi in Shas now?
It's hard, but you explain it well.
Okay, shkoyach.
That's the truth. It's not easy.
So let's see inside. Yad neguva metame chaverto letame kodesh. You see the word, the key word here is neguva. It's dry. Who cares if it's dry? If you're telling me hand A is going to slip off hand B and touch the meat, I don't care if it's dry or wet. Obviously, we're coming from a different angle here. Yad neguva metame chaverto letame kodesh. Avaloi the truma divi Rebbe. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Lifso. Okay, so let me show you another thing here. By the way, if you want to see it in a picture, this is what it looks like in a picture. This hand is a sheni, and it's wet. The water becomes a rishon. Now this hand that touches the other hand is going to become, the water is going to become a sheni, because anything that touches a rishon becomes a sheni. And now that hand that touches the meat becomes a shlishi. Now we have a machlokes. We don't have to go into the machlokes, but we'll show it anyway. Why not? We have a machlokes. What is hand B? Is hand B a sheni or a shlishi? It makes a lot of sense that if hand A is a sheni and hand A touches hand B, it will become one level less and become a shlishi. That's not what Rebbe says. Rebbe says that hand A that touches hand B stays a sheni. They're both shenis. And memela what? In little words over here. If it touches the meat, it's a big nafkamina. According to Rebbe, a sheni makes the meat a. And according to Rebbe Yossi, a shlishi makes the meat a revi, which is called what? Pasul. And according to Rebbe, the meat is tameh, meaning it can continue giving off tumah at least one more time. A shlishi can make other things a revi, but a revi stops short. So when it stops short, it's called pasul. You can't eat this meat, but what happens later, the meat could touch a bunch of other stuff and nothing happens. Okay, so that's the machlokes. Let's see it inside. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Doim, and live soil. Only puzzle. In other words, the meat becomes, it's tricky words, Rabbi Yosef. I'm telling you the truth. It's tricky words, but they're very simple. All of a sudden, we're talking about the meat now. So live soil is going on the meat, that the meat becomes a revi. Avaloy l'tami, it doesn't become a shlishi, can't give off tumah. Now the Gemara, here's the bomb question. If you're telling me that we're not talking about hands that are touching each other, we're just concerned that your hand might touch the other hand that's wet, it makes a lot of sense. That's why I'm talking about dry or not dry. But if the whole idea is that it might slip off, a gzera might slip, who's talking? What kind of chiddush is it that the hand? Even when it's dry, hey, we're talking about slipping off. Nothing to do with dry or wet. Nothing to do with anything. Fine. So therefore, he doesn't like he's mechulik on Rav Shizvi that says that when the Mishnah says that it touched the meat, that the Mishnah is talking about the hand A is on hand B. I don't like this, that it's constantly touching. No, that's not what's going on. Itmar, we just skip the word nami. They take out the word. You want to say it, say it. Don't say it, don't. Omer shlokish. Stam halacha. Lo shanu, because we're not giving a right to what we said. Lo shanu elo yodoi daf chav daladam beis. Sponsor. By Moshe Horn, we miss you, Moshe Horn. You know what? L'kav Moshe Horn, the whole island should say it together. In honor of Shui, Woody, and the Kale twins. These guys are standing by the door. They're, what just happened? They have no idea. Okay. But we owe it to them. We owe it 2 days. We missed it. Aval yad chaveri loy. This yad, what? Oh, that's right. Thank you. You know what? Here, come. Get up and say it. Hillel. Sponsored by Moshe Ginsbursky in honor of Brian and Talia Edgar. Okay. So, says Rish Lakish, if I take my hand, my Tomei hand A, and I touch Hillel Abrams on his hand, does not become Tomei. That's it. Doesn't become Tomei. And he's going to regret that. He's going to take it back.
You actually changed it for the new Adar. What's your horn?
Too late. We don't do twice. Echad Yodoi Ve'echad Yad Chaveroi. Yochanan says that the A is matama his own hand and makes his hand A. Shlishi, says Rabbi Yochanan. Ve'echad Yad Chaveroi. If I touch Hillel, he becomes Tameh. My Sheni makes him A. Shlishi. Ve'echad Yad Chaveroi Bo'is Hayad Lifsol. What does that mean? Bo'is Hayad means A. Bo'is Hayad, this A hand, Lifsol. Avaloi Letame. Lifsol means that becomes the Shlishi makes a Revi. Avaloi Letame. Okay. Mimai. How do I figure this out in the Mishnah? How do I see this in the Mishnah? Says the Gemara Mekatani Seifa, Shayad Mitama Chaverta Lekodesh, Avaloi Letruma. Hasulamali. You know what? Let's go. If we could find this Mishnah, where is it? It's on Daf Chaf Amud Beis. So you see, it says Ubetruma im nitmas achas. 5 lines from the bottom. Ubetruma. I think I scared those guys away. I feel bad. Ubetruma im nitmas achas miyadav chaverta tahira. So it says like this: if one of the hands became tamei, chaverta tahira, it doesn't make the other hand tamei. Ubekodesh madbilim shneim. Stop. What does it say? Kodesh, you have to toivel everything. What does it say a second later? Shayad mitamas chaverta bekodesh. Why do you have to continue? I said that when it's kachim, I have to be toivel my 2 hands. What does that tell every little kid? That one hand is mitama the other hand. So why do I have to repeat myself? Says the Gemara, I'm telling you why I want to repeat myself. I want to talk about another person. That my sheni can make Hillel tamei. That it doesn't say in the Mishnah. The second line tells me that. Let's see inside. Why do I need a double lashon? That you have to be toivel. He's telling me, talking about a friend of a hand, the friend's hand. You should know the Rish Lakish himself agree to Rabbi Yochanan that the hand of a friend is tamei. You can make your hand. If you give Shalom Aleichem to your friend on Shabbos and your hand is tamei, according to Rabbi Yochanan, he's also tamei. How do I know? He said in the name of Rabbi Shlokish. It's a freebie here. We have a line and a half freebie. Echad yadai, v'echad yad chaver, which we said a minute ago. Boisay yad, yad a, live soil, avalei l'tamei. A shlishi makes a revi, v'shalom Yisrael. Next, v'live soil, avalei er. So going back to the list. V'live soil, avalei l'tamei. Sorry, I'm not going back to the list. That a shlishi makes a revi. Is it machlokes tanoim? This is not. Kol ha-poisel b'truma, meaning a sheni. What does a sheni do? If I'm a kohen, and a sheni touches my fruit, am I allowed to eat it? No, it becomes puzzle because it becomes a shlishi. Thank you. I spilled my water on the floor by mistake on purpose. Mamish bal tashchus. Shkoyach. We're going to be mevatel Torah. Wait for 10 seconds until the bowl comes. Do it right away on the floor. A sheni passes the truma and metama biyudayim liyos shniyos. If it touched the hand, becomes a sheni. V'yad metama chaverta, and this is talking about kachim, that a hand makes the other. For kachim makes is matama the other hand. Fine, matama b'kachim chaverta. The hand is matama the other hand for kachim. Divrei Rabbi Shua. V'chachamim ma'imrim yodayim shniyasein. Vein sheni is a sheni. Chachamim argue and they say no. A sheni could only make a shlishi. A sheni can't. One sheni touching another thing doesn't make the other thing the same strength as it. It can't make another hand sheni. My love shenu so l'chayri can be medayik. Shenu de loyavid hashlishi yavid. It could make a shlishi, and therefore we have here machlokes tanaim whether or not it makes a shlishi. Dilma loy sheni avid loy shlishi. Maybe no. Who told you that it makes a shlishi? You're being medayik. Maybe they hold it doesn't do anything. Maybe the sheni does zero. So we don't have a machlokes tanaim yet. Elokani tanoi, like we said on Nomen Aleph. Nesanya neguva metames chaver l'tamim b'kodesh. A dry hand could be metama, its other hand, a dry hand that touches A, that touches B, becomes tamei in kachim. Avalei the truma. The Rebbe the Omer. I say yeah. So going back to where's that chart? Here, it's machlokes tanaim. Here, this is the same. This is what we're discussing. Here is the two tanaim that we said. No, here they are. They say the same thing. Says the Gemara. If your hand is tamei, but it's dry, I could eat truma, I cannot eat kachim. That's one of the things in the list, we're almost at the end of the list. Yadayim misuavos. Here we go. The chaymer that we have by truma and not by kachim and not by truma, that if my hand is tamei but not wet, I can't eat kachim, but I could eat truma. Says the Gemara. There's no such thing as hechsher tuma. What does hechsher tuma mean, y'all? That if you have a fruit, the only way that fruit could become tamei is if I pour water on it. What about all the rain that falls on it? Doesn't do anything because I didn't want it to fall on it. What about if it rained and it's wet and I take it off the tree and I say it's okay, I want it? Then yeah. But I need das to say that the water or one of the 7 liquids was machsher lekabel tuma. But when it comes to kachim, there is no such thing. It's all machsher lekabel tuma on the spot. Why? Because of my love for kachim. So why are you telling me? So in other words, I saw a good pshat here. I don't want to go into the kasha and the answer here, but just as pshat, if it's bothering you, this is the pshat. Pshat is that why am I picking that my hand is tamei and the other one is dry? Just say I have a chumrah by kachim that I don't even have to do hechsher tuma. That's what the Gemara's question is. I don't even have to do hechsher tuma. That's more chamor than truma that I have to do extra truma. I have to pour water in it. So that's what he's asking. Why didn't I say it like that? Obviously, there's a problem. Ah, I have a picture here. Guy has a pretty large mouth because I got to show you what's going on here. His friend put in to his mouth. He didn't touch it with his hand. In other words, we're trying to get to a way that he got something in his mouth without him touching it, without him making it tummy. Or he took a long toothpick, he took what are they called? He did a skewer and made sure it doesn't touch his mouth, put it in, and his hand, which is a sheni, doesn't make the skewer shlishi to make the food tummy. That's not a problem. It's not metal. Even if it metal, yeah. Ubikish lechot snain, and then he wanted to eat an onion, you see? So we have like this. We have a piece of a pear that's truma, and we have an onion that if the onion was wet, you see the water here? If the onion was wet, so it goes like this. His hand is a sheni. His hand that's a sheni touches the water becomes a rishon. Don't forget. Rishon goes all the way up, water goes all the way up to rishon. His hand touched the water becomes a rishon. The water's on the onion becomes a sheni. The onion that's a sheni touches the pear, which is truma, it ruins it. If it depends. It ruins it. It ruins truma, ruins kachim. Again. If my pear is truma and a sheni touches it, it becomes a shlishi, it becomes no good. What happened there? My friend put all this food in my mouth. Okay, I didn't touch it. If I touch it, then I have a problem. I made it a shlishi. I didn't touch it. I have a pear that's truma. Everything's good. It's going great. I'm allowed to eat it. But my friend put an onion that has water on it. So water, if my hand, which is a sheni, touches the water becomes a rishon. And the rishon touches the onion, and the onion becomes a sheni. And the onion that's a sheni touches the pear, and it makes it a shlishi, makes it possible. So let's see what's going on here, again inside. And we're almost done today. No, not really, because we have the mission. Here's the teretz. Nobody touched it. He wanted to eat some onions. Geschmack. Trust me, it's very gewaldig to eat onions and pears. Try it out. I never tried it, but I'm telling you, it's very geschmack. What's the problem? That this might happen. This case, there might be water. So when it comes to truma, I'm not geyser. So again, I'm asking you, what is this 10th case right over here? Almost at the 10 or 9, depending if we hold these are one of the. Yadayim Savais is talking about. We're talking about that the chulin is dry. The chulin is dry. When we were reading the Mishnah, we thought the truma is dry. And you're allowed to eat that kind of truma, but not that kind of kachim. And I'm telling you, no. We're talking about an onion that's chulin, that's dry. That if it was wet, you know what would happen? It would be a big problem. It would be also to eat it. But because the onion is not wet, not like this picture, it's dry, truma is not a problem. But kachim, I'm going to be concerned. I'm going to tell you, don't eat the pear, that's kachim. Why? Because you might have an onion that's wet, even though now it's dry. You might forget, you might spit, I don't know what. That's the chiddush here. Okay? Gewalt. Is there anybody following me? Because they all give me these blank stares. Should I do it again?
Where's the pears and onions?
Weiter. That's it. This is the last one, Rabbi said. My taima. Why, if a person just got up, he just went to his parents' levayis aynan, he has to be toivel in the mikvah for kachim, but not for truma. What's the pshat in the? He's not even. We said he's not even at the levaya. He's in America. He heard the terrible news. They buried his father in the Har Zaysim. He has to go to the mikvah. Fakert. His father. They buried him in America, and he's there. So zok the Gemara. My time, since there was a period of time for 5 hours he couldn't eat kachim, Rabbanon said you have to be toivel. Says the official Mishnah sponsored by official. L'refuah shlema for Brina, whatever. I don't have the name here. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What? Brina Vasenta Dvar says Akiva Gevaldik. Okay, thank you. Chaymer b'truma. Now we just had a list of 11 things that kachim is more chamor than truma. And now, you know what, just to make it a little fair, not a completely fair, we're going to give you a couple of things that truma is actually more chamor than kachim. Chaymer b'truma should be Yehuda ne'emanim, the amaritz, the amaretz, is ne'eman al taharas yayim v'shem kol yimos hashana. He's believed to say that this barrel of wine is kachim. Anybody remember the reason? Because otherwise he's going to make his own Beis HaMikdash. So he's believed. We want to allow him to bring wine and oil to the Beis HaMikdash. We don't want to make him a sugar and say, no, you're Amaret, you're Tameh, get out of here. He's going to open up his own thing. And anyway, when they press the wine, when they press the olives, Afala Truma, he's believed even on Truma. Why? So Rashi, on the Chafei and base, says Maridik Pshat, because we don't want to mess it up for all the Kohanim. The Kohanim, if we say that we don't trust Amaratzim, who are the farmers? Most of the farmers are Amaratzim. Yeah, you're going to find somebody who wrote to me, hey, you threw the truck driver on the... No, you know what I'm talking about. There are farmers that, the Gemara talks about a farmer who wouldn't say shalom to anybody that said hello to him. He was makbid on gneva for that one word. He was talking, learning the whole thing. But a typical farmer doesn't know much. Maybe today's different. And then, fine. So you can say that all his produce is tameh, so you koyanim are not going to get anything. 95% of the produce comes from Amaratzim. So we said, you know what? They're believed. The period of pressing went away. And they come, the Amaris shows up at the door, here, take some truma. I'm sorry, I can't take it from you. So it says on it, my favorite friend, Koyen, Rabbi Schoenberg, a whole thing he puts on the barrel. Rabbi Schoenberg tells him, I'm sorry, I don't want to insult you, but let's get out of here with your barrel. So he comes next year, and he shows up with the same exact barrel. How do you know it's the same exact barrel? Because it's the same letters. It says, L'chaved, Rav Schoenberg, Now, I'm allowed to take it. Last year you couldn't take it? I'm allowed to. I believe him that he didn't do anything to it. And if he said, we just said, the beginning of the Mishnah, he's believed in Kachim more than Truma. So if he says, in this barrel of Truma, I threw in a revius of Kodesh, and by the way, what is he going to do with that revius of Kodesh? How is he going to get it out of the barrel? It's all mixed in there. The halacha is, yesh breira. We could separate things afterwards. He's going to take out one revius and say, oh, that's the revius. That's the exact revius that he poured in there, that he said, he didn't pour in, he said that there's a revius of Kodesh in there. But since there's kachim in there, and he's believed on kachim, he's believed on an entire barrel, neman, kadiyayim and kadishem. Now we're talking about the barrels. You have a barrel of wine. Hamidu mais, we're going to see in the Gemara, it has 3 things in there, in this barrel. Chulin, and future truma and future kachim. Ne'emanim aleim, the Amaretz is believed to say that there's kachim in there. And since there's kachim in there, the whole thing is tar. He's believed during the Gitais and the Badim 70 days before. Why? Because at the end of the day, only 70 days, not the whole year. Why not the whole year? Anybody know? We said Amaretz is believed all year round in Kachim. All of a sudden now, he's not believed, only 7 days. Why? What's Pshat? Because it didn't happen yet. It's going to be Kachim. But right now, today, it isn't. So Mela, we only give him 70 days. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful evening. A good tomorrow at 7:15. Have a wonderful evening.